Today's going to be a short reading because after that we're going to hit the climax and all that stuff. Therefore, don't expect a long reading, so it's time to start. A dreary breeze blew through the road. No! What a way to start! A dreary breeze blew through the golden rose garden. Shannon and Canon had already finished walking their 19 steps, their backs still facing each other. When the demons conducting the trial gave the signal, they would both turn and settle this. Each one had the dueling pistols given by the demons in their hands. The bullets promised certain death, no matter where on the body they hit. This duel would not end until one of them died. George and Jessica just quietly watched the ones they loved. They had already entrusted all their thoughts to them, as well as their fates. Just watching over their partners was now the only way they could show their trust. Shannon and Canon stood quietly, with their backs turned. They had already set aside the feelings they built up during all those days they had known each other. The next time they laid eyes on the other, nothing would be asked of them except pulling that trigger. The only one who still couldn't muster any determination or resolve toward this duel was Beato. The closer that moment came, the less she understood. The love between George and Shannon wasn't standing in the way of the love between Jessica and Canon, or vice versa. Why, when both sides could find happiness, were they being forced to kill each other? I don't understand. I just can't understand!
Little sister, we are not permitted to do anything but watch.
Separ! Furfur! Why? Why this duel? This is no trial of love! You really are demons! You just want to enjoy watching one of the pairs fall apart, don't you?
Silence.
You'll get in the way of the lovers. You're the ones getting in their way! One will fall! The one who loves that person will grieve! If only you two weren't around, no one would be sad!
That is not true. If we hadn't set up this duel,
then both pairs would have fallen apart. This duel is necessary. I haven't been able to accept that since the beginning. You say that love can't be successful without a miracle of magic. What does love need each other? Damn it. I haven't been able to accept that since the beginning. You say their love can't be successful without a miracle of magic. What does love need other than two people who love each other? This duel is meaningless. So stop it, you two, Shannon and Canon both. Why must you fight each other to the death when you were once close as true siblings? I just can't understand. Everyone should have been able to hear Beato's yell. However, no one's expression changed.
That's right. I'm impressed that you noticed.
This is love's truth. What is?
Normally, love needs nothing more than two people who love each other.
Therefore, when there aren't two people, we must use a duel to make that number become two. I could understand if it were a duel between two people fighting over one woman, but if it were a duel to cut three people in love down to two. But here we have two pairs of people. The world formed by each pair is complete, isn't it? There's nothing compelling them to fight.
The minimum number of people that can create a world is two.
A world can only be born. Love can only be fulfilled when two people gather.
That's why this duel is necessary.
So that they can get up to that number of people.
you saying that furniture is subhuman, so they don't count as a single person? Exactly. Furniture is subhuman. That's why furniture and a human cannot add up to 2 people. That's insane! Status has nothing to do with it if both of them love each other! No, it does! Do you really think that the status of a pair of lovers doesn't matter? Is a man who has a wife allowed to love someone else? Is a woman who has a husband allowed to love someone else? Are you allowed to fall in love with your parents? Are you allowed to fall in love with your children? There are many situations where status makes love unallowable. Then just what is furniture? Why mustn't furniture fall in love? Because their soul is less than a single person. Shannon Cannon, and of course the piece that you are. All of you are furniture, subhuman beings who possess less than a single person's soul. To be qualified to love a human, you need only one thing: the possession of a single person's soul. That's why a pair in love can create a world. For example, do you think a man with a wife has a right to love another woman? Of course not. If he loved 2 women, neither would get a full person's worth of love. A man such as that would be unworthy of love. See? There are plenty of statuses and humans who have no right to love a person. As long as both people feel love, nothing else matters. That's just the hypocrisy of naive love. We cannot forgive humans who falsely pretend that they have the right to love. We cannot forgive the love of subhuman beings of those who don't make up the minimum number of people required to create a world. That is the purpose of our trial. It is to let the sinful souls regain a complete soul and become capable of true love. Sapar, Furfur. Oops, sorry. That should be Shannon. Sapar, Furfur. Our hearts are ready. Please, give the signal to start the duel. The pair fitting... I messed up. Please give the signal to start the duel. The pair bidding farewell quietly asked for the signal to be given. Sapar nodded silently, then walked to a place that could be seen by both of them. Furfur spoke in a voice quiet enough to avoid distracting the 2 duelists. Watch. Watch the duel to see which of the lovers will fall apart. No, this isn't a duel to see who falls apart. This is a duel to make true love succeed. I don't understand what you 2 are saying. No, you must understand. This marks the birth of a human who can truly love another. I don't understand! No matter which wins, please support them. Right now, their days as furniture will end. The signal is simple. I will count to 3. When I reach 3, the duel will commence. Understood. Same here. If both miss, the duel will be temporarily suspended. You will be given bullets again and will start over from the beginning, with your backs to each other. I guess it'll repeat until it's all settled. Sapar, have you seen this sort of duel many times in the past? Of course! I've seen many of them. Usually, how many times do they need to face off before it's over? In almost all cases, it's a sign in the first round. They must all be really good shots. That's not it. If one side misses, the other can corner them at their leisure and shoot. If the first bullet misses, then you've lost your chance at victory. However, if you take too long, you'll lose before you can even pull the trigger. If you're going to lose anyway, you'd at least want to have pulled the trigger first. Your resolve is good, you 2. Then, let's go.
1, 2, 3. In the Golden Rose Garden, when the number 3 was yelled, the sound of gunfire rang out at once. Even the people watching couldn't tell whether that was a single gun firing, or the sound of both going off at the same time. In the midst of the stench of gunpowder and white smoke, there with the gun raised and smoke trailing the barrel, was Cannon. And lying on the earth was Shannon. Shannon. No. Shannon fell before the gun fired. Jessica's distressed expression was enough to explain what had happened. Slowly, Shannon stood up. There was no bullet wound anywhere on her body. At the time of the signal, Cannon had My bad. There was no bullet wound anywhere on her body. At the time of the signal, Shannon had thrown herself to the ground, dodging the bullet. It had been a bet. If Cannon had turned around and taken the time to aim carefully before shooting, then he would have shot her as she lay there. However, if Cannon shot as soon as he turned around, she should have been able... However, if Cannon had shot as soon as he turned around, she would have been able to dodge it. Cannon had also made a bet. He did not underestimate Shannon's skill with a firearm. He's fully aware that if he assumed Shannon would be timid enough to let him shoot first, he would lose before even pulling the trigger. So he had decided to shoot right away. And he had predicted that when he shot, Shannon would reflexively pull the trigger too. Since he intended to shoot right away, he'd be more mentally prepared. So he was confident that he'd be able to shoot accurately. If Cannon had consciously turned around, and Shannon had shot instantly with the strength of her will, then Cannon wouldn't even have been able to pull the trigger. So no impatience on Cannon's part was to blame here. The two had simply given it their all, left their fates to the heavens, and reached this result. I didn't imagine... Oh wait. Shit. I keep messing up. I didn't imagine that my quick-tempered Nason wouldn't shoot at all. I'm surprised too, to think that old prudent Cannon would shoot as soon as he turned. You know, I practiced this last night and I keep fucking up. As Shannon quietly pointed the barrel at him, she slowly walked forward. She planned on cautiously closing the gap until she reached a distance from when she could hit. I'm gonna edit this shit out. Probably I'll put a bloopers at the end, because this is pissing me off. As Shannon quietly pointed the barrel at him, she slowly walked forward. She planned on cautiously closing the gap until she reached a distance from when she could hit with even more certain accuracy. And Cannon had already lost any means of fighting back. He could only try to dodge Shannon's bullet and place his bet on the second round. If they both thought this, then what happened next would turn that assumption on its head. This isn't over yet! Cannon dashed forward like a tornado, bent over so low that he was almost crawling over his shadow. This duel could be settled only by a bullet. But he wasn't the only one who had a bullet. If he could steal Shannon's gun away from her, he could turn this fight around. And if Shannon calmly shot through Cannon, it would end. The odds that Shannon would miss, or that he would get close enough to her before she fired, Cannon would bet all the chips he had on them. Shannon could draw Cannon in until the last second, then shoot him from a closer distance. If she pulled the trigger just before he reached her, then even if she had missed, they would have to start again from the beginning. Shannon kept her gun pointing at Kanon's forehead as she compared these options until the final moment. She let her shot calculating the distance he'd already moved and the time it would take to pull the trigger. The goddess of fortune smiles impartially. No! Surviving past the final moment, Shannon could have shot Kanon, barreled into her chest. Then he swung his hand up and knocked the gun Shannon held into the air. That strike sent Shannon's gun flying into the sky. At the same time, Kanon's gun also flew from his hand and danced through the air. The two guns danced a rondo through the sky, reached their peak, and began to fall. By the time neither knew Woe's gun was which. The two guns were exactly the same. Everything about them was identical. There was no way to tell them apart. However, there was one difference. Only one of them had the bullet inside. The pair raised their hands to the sky, trying to grasp their fate, their miracle. It was as though they were trying to grasp the wings of the descending angel of miracles. The pair looked up at the brilliant sky and entrusted everything to the goddess of fortune. Then, they each grabbed one of the guns out of the air, and after dancing a momentary rondo, their arms crossed each other. Even that had been like a dance. Then, they each pressed the barrel of their gun up against the other's forehead, both as steady as a rock. Even they could not know which gun held the bullet. When they both pressed the triggers, one would die and one would remain alive. The match would end. George and Jessica wouldn't know the result until that moment came. However, was it really impossible for those holding the guns to know? The muzzle of Kanon's gun, which had already been fired, must have been warm, and the muzzle of the other gun, which Shannon hadn't fired, should have been ice cold. So perhaps the pair of them did realize which gun was which. And yet, both expressions were solemn. The faces of those who would believe in their fate unswervingly until the moment triggers were pulled.
Don't be sad. We'll meet again soon, in the Golden Land.
We should have done this much sooner.
If only we had. Our reunion could have been avoided entirely.
It's all right, considering what day this is. Even this duel is just a farce.
You're right. If we're going to just survive in the Golden Land anyway, it really is just a farce.
Then, I'll see you later.
Yeah, you too.
So long. Hey, what's going on? Hang in there!
Suddenly, Kanon fell to the floor as if he had an attack of anemia. It happened without any warning beforehand, so everyone rushed up to him in alarm.
What they saw surprised them. There was a single strand of blood across his forehead, making it look as though it had been cracked open. Huh? How? What happened? What's going on?
Trying to get a look at the wound, Goda wiped Kanon's forehead with a handkerchief. However, his forehead was perfectly smooth without any trace of a wound. And yet, blood was pouring out almost as though it was seeping through his skin.
What are you doing? Stop the bleeding already! But even though there's no wound, the blood won't stop coming! Hey there, Kanon! Kanon! Yoshi! Kanon's forehead was pale, and though his eyes were open, they had lost the light of the living, just like a puppet whose strings had been cut. He had passed away.
Yoshia! Yoshia!
So long, Canon. And thank you. Jessica dashed up to Canon's corpse, held it, pressed her forehead against his, and, as the still hot blood was smeared over her forehead as well, she sobbed. Shannon. George, we've won. Now, I finally have the right to love you. Finally. Shannon leaned against George's chest, as though the strings holding her up had been cut. George held her in silence.
Yoshia! Yoshia!
There was nothing in the golden rose garden except the wind that carried the golden flower petals, and the sound of Jessica's grieving sobs. Is your trial for us finished now?
It is. Congratulations. You two are the ones who remain. We will give you our blessing, but please don't forget, you are now responsible for nurturing your love. Please, take good care of the seed of love that this miracle has created.
Of course. I swear it to her and you two.
And now, let Shannon have the miracle of magic. Now your soul will become human. You will become a single person. Gather, incomplete souls! Become one and know love!
When Sipar and Furfur faced the heavens and yelled, the miracle of love gathered the souls around Shannon. They came from the losers of the trial, from Canon, who had been defeated, and from Beato, who had dropped out. Slowly, the bodies of the two began to break down into flecks of gold dust.
What's going on here? No one ever said the losers would disappear.
As she yelled, Beato the elder supported the body of her fading little sister. However, the two demons were smiling quietly.
Canon had disappeared because he died. Beato was born to love Balor and is disappearing because she has lost the qualifications to do that.
It is quite fair. If you had survived, the other two would have vanished.
Hang in there, little sister, hang in there! Weren't you going to solve Balor's closed room and save him? What are you doing getting finished off in a place like this? You call yourself a part of our complete form.
Why was I born for the purpose of loving Battler? Why do I love Battler? The truth is, I don't know why I started to love him.
What? Why are you saying this now?
After all, when I was born, I was told to love Battler and be loved by him. That was my purpose, so I don't really know why I love him.
People don't need a reason to love each other. Don't disappear. If you disappear, who will save Battler? Little sister, Banto! Bandrichi!
Why is it that I love Battler, Mother? Well, I'm actually not a big fan of the family-oriented type girl. You see how crude I am, right? I just can't handle it acting politely in front of girls, ladies first and all that stuff. So, if I had to say what type I liked, well, I'd probably like a Jessica-ish girl. If I'm crude, why shouldn't she be too? It'd probably just be perfect to have a rough, relaxed relationship where we can mess around without worrying about gender and be rude with no worries. So, if I ever get a girlfriend, I hope it's someone I can joke around with all the time. Huh? What would she look like? Can't say I care much either way. Well, if she did happen to be a glamorous woman, blonde and bouncy with blue eyes like in Western films, that'd be awesome. I'd love to rub those boobs. Beatrice, listen. I'm giving you my love for Ushiromiya Battler. Become the kind of woman that Battler wants. Take the golden hair he likes. Take the blue eyes he likes. Take this personality that matches his. And then, you must love him in my place. And then, if possible, you must be loved by him. I can no longer love him. Please, take my feelings that went unfulfilled. My feelings that I couldn't hold back. And make my wish come true. From this day forward, you are no longer the Rokenjima ghost that lives only to play pranks. From this day forward, you'll become the master of this island and wait for the day that he comes to fulfill his promise. From this day forward, you will do this in my place. So from this day forward, you'll no longer be me. Please forgive me for pushing all my worries onto you, while I alone try to find happiness. From this day forward, you have the right to hate everything. From this day forward, you are the Golden Witch Beatrice. And one day, you will destroy everything, revive everything. You will bring blessings to all lovers. When that happens, I pray that you and I will both succeed in finding happiness. From this day forward, you will no longer be me. From this day forward, I will no longer be you. The two of us will split apart a single soul and share it. And though, of course, neither of us will possess a complete soul, I'm sure our dreams will be more numerous than those of humans. Let us be blessed, my dear Beatrice. No one will be able to see your form. However, I alone can see you. And if you are loved by many people, I'm sure that everyone will be able to see you someday. With love, they will be able to see us. Yoshia!
Are we dreaming? Insane. What kind of joke is this, Well? Get Dr. Nanjo! Call Dr. Nanjo here! Goda, that is enough.
Genji, who had been calm and silent through the whole thing, finally spoke. And his were the most reasonable words spoken. If they called Nanjo here, then what? Not only was there no arm to take the pulse of, there wasn't even a forehead to feel the heat of. Like leftover snow on a spring day, Kanon's form had been. By now, not even a trace remained. His form had sparkled with a spray of gold, vanishing completely. Where? Where did he go? Where's Yoshia? Yoshia! Yoshia! So long, milady. No, Jessica. Kanon. By now, no one's eyes can see us. That means we're no longer in their world. However, we are right here. You're right. We are here. For us, a body is nothing more than a cage made of flesh. There's no need to be sad. But I do feel sad for her. For Jessica. This is all my sin. This is why furniture isn't supposed to love. What will you do now? Though I have lost my form, though I can no longer talk to her, and even though if Jessica ever talks to me, I can do nothing except nod behind her back. I will be by her side.
I think that's wonderful.
What will you do?
I want to save Balor from a closed room.
A closed room? After looking a bit taken aback, Kano laughed gently. Beato, who hadn't expected to be laughed at, looked a little sour.
Well, why are you laughing? This is very important to me.
But it's a closed room. That's something for humans with bodies to worry about, right?
Huh?
We've already been released from our cage of flesh. How could a closed room hinder us?
Are you sure about that? I mean, there's a chain lock and packing tape seals and red truth.
I see. So you aren't a being from the world of pieces, but a higher level world. That means your limitations are different from ours, or so I hear. Ah, well. Canon stretched. It looked as though he was about to head out somewhere.
Canon.
Seeing as you're a fellow loser. Okay. I'll go for you. I'll go to the guest room in the mansion, let Balor out, set the chain behind me, and hide in the closet in his place. Is that enough?
I'm glad for the sentiment. However, even if you wanted to leave the cousin room because of Erica's seals.
Unlike the next room over, the cousin room containing Kano was a guaranteed complete closed rooms, even counting the windows. Not only did he have no way to save Balor, he couldn't even escape himself. In that case, use your magic to give me power.
My magic?
Yeah, use your magic on me.
Well, wait, I don't even know how.
Aren't you the Beatrice, the Golden Witch?
I am a witch, but, I don't even know about closed room tricks, much less magic.
Okay, listen up, Beatrice. I'll only tell you this once. This is what a witch is.
What a witch is?
A witch is not the one who solves puzzles. Not the one who's... Wait, my bad.
Not the one who solves puzzles?
Yeah, that's right. If you're a witch, then why are you clutching at your head because of someone else's puzzles? That's not a witch's job, right?
Then what is a witch's job?
The Golden Witch I know would have used insane magic to create a puzzle that no one could understand, confusing everyone and sneering. Create a horrible riddle that no one can get, spin everyone around and badmouth them. You aren't supposed to clutch at your head worrying about your opponent's puzzles. That's your opponent's job.
Worrying is my opponent's job.
Don't worry about how Ushinomiya Balor got out of the closed room. A chain-lock closed room? How trivial. You need to create a much more spectacular ultimate closed room. And make it so that they're the ones worrying. I'll even lend a hand.
I'm not the one who worries.
That's for them to do. It's about time they learned the true terror of the Golden Witch Beatrice. The one who can create the endless closed room tricks of the most horrific kind. Tricks that can make even the demons of hell prostrate themselves in shock.
A closed room even more horrific than Balor's.
We've already gotten our hands on one, haven't we?
A horrific closed room.
In the back of Beato's mind, images she remembered began to flit by one after another. The mansion, the guest house, the rose garden. Trick, mistake, lure, taunt, trap, laugh together. Do you know about this trick?
I think I've seen something like it in a book before.
Beato's eyes opened wider and wider. Countless lights circled around her, swallowing her up. And one more thing.
What?
That's no way for the Witch of the Closed Rooms to talk.
So after all, I must be...
me. By the way, so there was this thing where when she says I, it is basically, so Chick Beato and Elder Beatrice use different Japanese pronouns, like warawa, or like she uses watashi. So yeah. Because if you know anything, it's basically what they do. Should I do it? Should I read a little? Hold on. I'm gonna make a decision. Because this is only 30 minutes long. And that chapter was only 30 minutes long. It was really short. So I'm gonna check the Let's Play archive and see if I want to continue. Because I don't want to make a lot of work for me when I read it. Because then, I'm doomed. So I'm going to reduce as much work for myself as I can. By the way, remember the scene between Furfur and Zephyr when they're telling, like, the Beatos, like Beato, what they were telling her? Because, it's actually really important. And let's see. I want to go back and talk about it later, because there's some things I do disagree with. And that's just something I want to talk about. But, yeah. We can read to a certain point. Yeah, let's keep reading, and then we can finish the rest on, like, Sunday, because yeah. That means we have time for Kano to say my favorite line that Kano has ever said ever. I love that line. I can't wait to read it. Because just the way that he said it is hilarious to me. The marriage ceremony ended without any problems, and the reception was held inside the cathedral. As the Go Demons partied raucously... Frick! No! Another word I don't know how to say! How the hell do I say that word? Hold on. This time I'll look it up, because it's not too hard to spell. How the hell do I say it? Raucous? How the frick do I say this shit? Raucous? Raucous? Oh, how do I say it? Raucous? Roxas? Whatever. As the goat demons party raucously, Dalnor could be seen leaning against a pillar trying to escape from the noise. Then Gertrude appeared and whispered some kind of report to her. Is that true? Allow me to speak. Aide Cornelia is currently heading toward the scene. I suggest that Lady Erica be contacted as well. Understood. I will tell her. Gertrude, contact the head of the ceremony security. Prepare for a battle. As you wish. I apologize for interrupting your chat. I am in charge of security for the ceremony. Huh? Is it me? Do you want something? I told you were going too far. Champagne Tower bowling was always a bad idea. Looks like it's time for a scolding. Hey, Burn! Hey, what's going on? Did I do something wrong? The reception desk has received an envelope from an unknown sender, addressed to Lady Lambda Delta. I
ignoring Nama's calls and letters. Just throw it away.
But please look at this.
What's that? Did you tell anyone you received this?
No. Only the two sisters of the reception desk, and I know. They've already been ordered to keep silent.
The instant she saw that envelope, Lambda Delta snatched it away and lowered her voice. Berncastle had walked away and was apparently making fun of Erika. Bern and, of course, Erika were both drunk. If they were left alone, they'd probably forget about this. It's true that this envelope has no sender written on it. However, the seal was done on it in gold leaf. Fulfills the same purpose. The seal is. Lambda Delta hid behind a pillar, ripped the envelope open, took out its contents and read them. Her eyes instantly started to glint, and she smiled like a kid who just thought of a nasty trick.
What is to be done? The sniper team is carrying out red warheads. If you give your permission, I will order to load them.
What are you talking about? Do you realize how important these guests are? If a stray bullet hit one of these attendants, all the new Chester sisters would be sent straight from the factory to the guillotine for the next 10 years.
Understood. We will intercept with regular warheads. Shall we post watches around the Seven Sisters of Purgatory?
Why would we need those? After all, the Seven Stakes are battlers, and now Erika's furniture. Why don't we post watches around our allies? Just make sure security is nice and tight.
Just now we received a recommendation of Assistant Inquisitor Gertrude suggesting that we make preparations for battle. Her reasons are unknown.
From Gertrude? Then follow that recommendation. A party's more fun once you liven things up.
Understood. 00 calling Chester 173845, code R. Be on your guards. Transmitting level 2 alert.
17 copy. 38 copy. 45 understood.
Oops.
45 understood.
There, we fixed it.
It'd been so much cooler if you said copy 2, yeah. I just got nervous. Alright, 45, come over here for a second. What is it? Hey, we're on the job! Stop! Don't put it in my ears! Your ears? Better pull them down, yeah. What did you say? You're kidding, right? That's impossible! Cornelia is heading there now. The odds of Beatrice attacking here are extremely high. I recommend suspending the reception and evacuating.
What's going on, Erika? Something going wrong with the entertainment?
No, my master! Please continue to enjoy the reception. Hey, somebody. Let's get Lady Berncastle some more dried plum wine. Erika didn't have time to hide her agitation. When Berncastle saw this, she knew her final late guest had finally arrived. Lucy! I hear there's some kind of movement in the guest house.
The guest house? Who cares about the game board now?
Well, they're saying that Count disappeared from the cousin room.
What? Are you a moron? The cousin room is a perfect closed room, with the door and all the windows perfectly sealed. It's impossible for him to escape. No, I've been snooping about as well. There's no mistake. Kano has disappeared from the cousin room.
He's probably hiding somewhere in the cousin room, or else he's managed to trick everyone since the beginning and was never in that room to begin with. That's impossible! It's been guaranteed that everyone is in the cousin room except the specific names Lady Erika read aloud back then. It's impossible for him to trade. If that's impossible, it's been guaranteed that everyone is in the cousin room except the specific names Lady Erika read aloud back then. It's impossible for him to trick his way out of there.
How'd he get past the Jungfrau sealed barrier? No, first off, where on earth is Canon? Find him at once!
At that moment, the cathedral suddenly went black. The surprise commotion from all the guests filled the cathedral. She's here.
00 calling all Chesters. Code R alert. Chester 17, can you repair the electrical systems?
Negative. Communications with the management staff have been severed. All Chester's code red. Rock and roll. Copy. 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 Understood. I mean copy. The sniper teams and the chandeliers all released their safeties at once. The entire security system down in the hall loaded their ammunition. Lady Erica, let us evacuate to the waiting room. It is dangerous here. What's dangerous? I'm the territory lord of this world. Why should I have to run away in fear? Gertrude, set up a VIP guard barrier. Call Cornelia back here at once.
Yes, executing.
A barrier? I need to be wrapped in one of your pitiful, pathetic barriers while I'm wearing a wedding dress? How insulting!
This disturbance made even Balor groan as he sat in the next seat over like a doll. Ugh. Even his soul sealed, Balor probably realized that something strange was going on. She's late, right, Lambda?
Totally. She sure kept us waiting.
What was that just now? A love letter from someone.
A fan letter from the Lambda Chan fan club.
Lambda got to play dumb and munch some popcorn. Then the lights finally turned on. It was clear that during the blackout, Beatrice had snuck in somewhere nearby, possibly even inside the cathedral itself. The Whispering Demon attendants all realized it as well. What scheme was this and what were they doing? Though it may have been impudent, they were looking forward to this, and an excited chatter filled the cathedral. Looks like she came.
Gap!
They let you come back too! Come on, putting me in jail is pointless. True. But Riche, Battler's closed room, the cousin room, and even the final possibility of the next room over have all been sealed. How do you plan to save Battler? Let's suppose that Milady has found some trick X. If so, she would inevitably have to march in there to thrust that in Lady Erica's face. But against all these Chester troops, I can't believe this many of them were hiding here. It's impossible. She'll be stoned to death. Rabbit ears dashed all about the hall. Incredible that she could remain hidden and unnoticed with so many people around. If she just get close enough to challenge Erica, she should be able to get herself an even fight. I see that move. However, does Milady have an item with her? She always complains and dislikes it when I prepare them for her. My, she's a troublesome one to the end. Amid the crowd, Renove took out something and showed it. When Virgilia saw, she understood what that in his hand meant. True, with that, it should be possible to stop the attacks from the Chester troops. Well, if it doesn't work on Erica, we're through. The problem is getting her right in front of Erica, if only for a second. The Chesters will probably prevent that with all they have. Leah, do you think you can gain her that time? Oops. Leah, do you think you can gain her that time? Virgilia gave a small nod. However, the problem was the two Chester troops standing at her back. Since the time she tried to jump out in front of the procession, she had been marked constantly. It was possible, with Virgilia's vast magical power, to momentarily take out all the Chester troops in the cathedral. That would only gain a short bit of time, but it would be enough to confront Erica. The Chester troops knew this, so they kept a close eye on Virgilia with tense faces. At that moment, the great cathedral door was blasted to bits. The fragments became bright gold butterflies, which danced across the room in a beautiful blizzard of gold leaf. That golden storm slowly faded away. Then, at the entrance to the red carpeted path to the grave, a calm, majestic figure was.
Guards! Shoot to kill! Negative, conducting identity comparison.
Dano ordered the guards to shoot the intruder right away, but Chester 00 didn't respond. Was it because she had been warned about the shooting the guests, and was afraid of the consequences of the possibility of shooting a drunk guest pulling some sort of prank. No, 00 was just coolly and calmly carrying out her duties.
Oh, what a surprise! And I thought you were going to be able to make it.
I messed up.
Oh, what a surprise! And I thought you weren't going to be.
Ugh!
Oh, what a surprise! And I thought you weren't going to make it.
The pair faced each other from either end of the long red carpet. However, in between them stood several dozen Chester honor guards.
It took you quite some time to come here, most honored guest. You had us all quite worried, but I'm glad you managed to make it to the reception at least.
Beato laughed. That chuckle made Balor's eyes quiver slightly. You... Did I keep you waiting, Fudo Erica? I'm here to celebrate! She had an overpowering and evil presence about her, strong enough to make anyone shiver. Was there any need to confirm her identity now? Who else could possess such an overwhelming presence? But... Beatrice! Let us meet again in hell is a favorite parting line of mine, but... Identity confirmed. It's the great lady Beatrice. This time it really did happen. Fudo Erica! At that moment, the two Chester troops standing behind Virgilia slumped over and fell to the floor. Renove had touched the bases of their big ears from behind. It was clear he had applied some sort of magic. Someone find a doctor. These girls appear to be ill. All Chesters open fire! Beto, now! Just an instant before the Chester troops could fire, Virgilia raised her arms to the heavens. Her magical power was just more than enough to remind all present what her name had meant at the height of her strength. It became a spirit wave that exploded throughout the cathedral. Its shockwave made the stained glass windows shatter and powerful glass shards poured around everywhere. Spirit particle warfare defenses! Hurry on reboot! However, all the Chester honor guards, who didn't have the spirit particle defenses, toppled over like dolls. The ceiling snipers were defended and able to avoid a crash, but it would take several minutes before the system could be rebooted. That span of time should be enough to reach Erica. However, it wouldn't be possible to defeat Erica in just a few minutes. There's no way they'd be able to carry Balor away in that time. What else could they use this precious time for? Beato dashed down the red carpeted path. She ran to the path of the grave, which was lined by the Chester troops lying there like corpses. She had called this place hell. In that case, running from hell to the grave was actually going backwards. Beato's figure, dashing through the corpse-ridden path, truly symbolized her resurrection. Milady, take this! Got it! As she dashed, she snatched something from white from Renove's outstretched hand. There was no longer anyone blocking her path to Erica. However, at that instant, a golden thread came front for her and rapidly sewed around the red carpet toward her like a sewing machine. Huh! We have a meddler!
Reloading complete! Data requesting ya! Firing radar targeted. Data link to 410.
410 was clever. She had predicted that Virgilia would go for a spirit particle attack and had folded her ears and 45s over beforehand. So, they were the only ones who weren't taken out.
Firing!
Once again, the golden sewing thread chased after Beato, weaving like a sewing machine. It was as though an undulating golden snake was shooting after her. Impudence! You mean to delay my precious showdown with Erica? Beato jumped sideways away from the red carpet and dashed along the long table covered with beautiful food. The gold snake chased her, sewing through the pure white tablecloth like a sewing machine, scattering dishes left and right. The go attendants ran about wildly, trying to escape. The cathedral was wrapped in pandemonium.
I can't believe some of those rabbits evaded the spirit particle attack!
This is bad. If they take up that position, there's nothing we can do. The pair of snipers attacking from the chandelier high above were much further away than Erica was, too far for Beato to reach. Furthermore, their position landed the entire cathedral inside their range of fire.
Too bad, yeah, Beatrice! The trials of love are harsh, yeah! 45 new magazine!
You mean this? Gap handed her the magazine. 45 always handed them over backwards, so Fortune was a bit confused to have one handed to her right way up.
Yeah! Yeah! Let go! Yeah!
No matter how distant a position they might take, it was no problem for the elusive Gap. Gap twisted their long ears up and tickled them with her thumbs. The Chester's greatest weapon was also their greatest weakness. The two doubled over with laughter. I've got these two. But how many seconds do we have left? The other Chesters will be reactivating. On the other chandeliers, even more powerful Chesters were slowly starting to move again. It would be impossible to buy any more time. Ah, Gap! Thanks, I'm in your debt. Don't forget to thank these guys too.
Beto, good luck! Hang in there!
You don't have much time. Erica! Beato cut through the crowd of scampering goats like Moses. Her goal was straight in front of her, the place where Erica and Balor were seated. Then a red barrier took form, blocking her path. It was a VIP guarding barrier that Gertrude had set up. She stepped forward and laid out a last line of defense to block Beato's path. Let it be known that you will get no closer. You think a wall like that could stop me?
How long until the Chesters reactivate?
Within 30 seconds. As the oldest of the 7 sisters of Purgatory, Lucifer stood in waiting behind the bride and groom. She wanted to save Beato. If she could just distract Gertrude for a moment, the wall would disappear. However, the 7 sisters were furniture. They served the territory lord, so they couldn't even move to help Beato. Dalnor glanced over at Lucifer. There was a coercive tint to her eyes.
You are not allowed to move except by the orders of your master.
Who's our master? It's Erica now, idiot.
No, our master is Battler.
True, Erica only speaks on his behalf.
That's right, One-sama. Whose furniture are we? It's just too delicious. Let's take it in.
The red absolute barrier flickered for just an instant. Beelzebub's stake had pierced Gertrude's shoulders, and her concentration had wavered, but it didn't break. Slowly and expressionlessly, Gertrude turned to look at Lucifer. By Woe's orders, know that Lady Erica has made no such order.
We do have orders! The orders of our master!
How can a master who cannot speak give orders?
Even though he can't talk, understanding your master's will is furniture's job!
Then it cannot be helped. The 7-6 shot at Gertrude at once. Gertrude had chosen to take all those direct attacks, refusing to abandon the barrier until the last moment. Though she was ill enough to be called a literal Iron Maiden and receive no damage at all, it was more than enough to make her flinch and lose control of the barrier. Good work, my furniture! Beato shot through the scattered red fragments of the barrier, as she was finally right in front of the bride, her rival, Erica. However, there stood the final shield protecting Erica. Death sentence Dalnor!
You are too late. Time is already up, Lady Beatrice.
Chester 17 data link to all Chesters. Incoming data from Archangel Satellite, homing format, verdict model, conceptual guidance. Chester 20, reactivation complete. Chester 127, reactivation complete.
Time's up, yeah. No, not there. No.
Riche, good luck.
Dalnor!
Back off, Dalnor Anox. This isn't your fight.
I have received a red truth denying you from Ladyburn Castle. I'm afraid that this will become your grave.
I don't know what Burn Castle has allowed her to say. However, I don't need to sit around and let that longsword tell me. I'll play with you all you want later, but for now, back off. There's no time. The Chester system have already finished reactivating. I'm only living on a bit of borrowed time.
You will be the one to retreat. You are the pitiable actor who has chosen the wrong time to make an appearance.
Dalnor's red longsword cut a large arc of absolute denial, which heads straight for the crown of Beato's head. However, in that instant there was a thunk, and a curve missed slightly. Beato didn't let this good fortune go to waste. She slipped past the longsword, knocked Dalnor aside, and finally stood right in front of Erica. This time not a single person stood in her way.
This is popcorn. Where did this come from?
Urgent request from the bride's bodyguard team. Let the Chester Sister Imperial Guards fire at the intruder immediately. The commotion quieted. However, no one shot. Why? They could have shot if they wanted to. All the Chester troops had completely targeted her and removed their safeties. Of course, all of them had finished reactivating. However, they hesitated to pull the trigger. Why aren't they shooting? Let the ceremony guards immediately!
Wait! Look at that!
Dalnor's expression grew grim. Then, she quietly put her red longsword away. After all, Erica would have to make a decision. If she decided to ignore it, they could shoot to kill. However, if Erica picked that up, they must not do so. So they couldn't pull the triggers until Erica decided. Why won't anyone shoot?
Look closely. See what Beato just threw at Erica?
Lambda Delta pointed, still chomping down popcorn. It was hard to see from the balcony. Beato had thrown something like a white handkerchief at Erica. It had fallen to Erica's feet. What was that white thing?
She really knows what she's doing, that girl. She knows what it means to be the main character.
How interesting. The thing that had hit Erica in the face and fallen to the floor was a white glove that Beato had gotten from Renove. Hitting someone with a glove like that could only mean one thing. It was.
Oh! Zepar! What is this? What does this mean?
This is a request for a duel. If she picks up the glove, it means she's accepted.
And if she doesn't, the Chester sisters will shoot.
Why would she pick it up? She doesn't have to. However, we and the demon attendants would probably spread the word far and wide that she dishonorably ran away from a duel. She would be known for eternity as a cow who ran away from a duel of love. Beatrice waited firmly and composedly. If Erica just kicked it away, then at that very instant, the Chesters would probably all fire at once, turning her into a golden embroidery, so Erica didn't have to pick it up. However, she could not afford to be afraid of picking it up. After all, she was a true victor who had defeated Balor's closed room trick and logic. If she was the victor, she had nothing to fear, so if she was afraid of doing it, it would prove that she still felt a tinge of doubt about her victory.
If I don't pick it up, I can kill you without getting these clothes dirty.
That would probably liven up your reception. However, you will pick it up.
Oh. And why is that?
I brought a wonderful gift just perfect for you. You want to know what that is? Therefore, you'll pick it up.
Not interested. Goodbye.
You'll pick it up. I know that you want to hear about the closed room I've brought you, which, unlike that trivial guest room of battlers, is simple, basic, and absolutely cannot be solved.
A closed room that absolutely cannot be solved.
I know you want to accept my challenge. After all, you are the detective.
Erica threw off her wedding dress as though it were a cape. Yes, before she is a bride or a piece or a witch, she is one thing first and foremost. I am the detective. I acknowledge you as my opponent. However, are you qualified to participate in this game? Have you managed to fix the logic error?
If you pick that glove up, I will prove that I have fixed it in a fight against you.
Good!
Oh!
The cathedral was filled with chatter. Erica had picked up the glove. A duel! A duel! The cathedral was wrapped in bizarre excitement. At Erica's nod, Danor pushed the crowd away, leaving the pair alone. People were permitted to witness this duel. However, no one would be allowed to interfere in any way. It's okay, Battler. I've already found a way to save you.
How?
I'm going to save you now. Please hang in there just a little longer. Beatrice's resolute expression returned, and she grinned boldly, looking down on Erica.
There can be no doubt. That's the expression worn only by the Golden Witch.
The presence of the Master of Closed Rooms. A shadow dashed through the stormy rose garden. It was incredibly light and swift. The raindrops never touched him. He made no splash in the countless puddles. His feet left no tracks in the mud. That rushing figure was Canon. Then he ran up the stairs to the entrance of the mansion. He did not slow down the slightest to open the door. He ran straight at it as though trying to break through and leapt into it. Though the door was shut, even that couldn't stop Canon. He slipped through the door, fell into the entranceway, and slowly stood up. His body wasn't even wet. And, as he recalled those nostalgic days spent serving the Ushinomiya family, which would never come again, he ran once more. He was heading for Balor's guest room. He ran past the servant room, through the entrance hall, and past the door to the parlor. Then the doors to the kitchen and the dining hall came into sight. All of it brings back fond memories. There was the honor and rigidity of serving Kinzo directly. However, that man wasn't rigid at all the time. When the family was out of sight and he didn't have to preserve that air of majesty, his face would turn unbelievably childish. He'd sometimes ask me to take part in strange pranks. The master let me shoot lots of guns, didn't he? That was pretty fun. Kraus was actually surprisingly kind. He must have gotten that impression that the master bullied me a lot. Whenever I was the only one around, he'd talk to me in a very familiar way, almost as though he was a classmate of mine. I sort of regret that I held back and never did anything but nod in return. Madame was a really strict person. Ever since some rumor went around saying that she was strict on female servants but soft toward male servants, I get the feeling she viewed me as an enemy. However, she was also a woman to be pitied. When I've seen her alone, I noticed her shoulders sag with pain many times. There were a lot of servants, weren't there? Some lasted a short while, others stayed a long time. Genji was the one I might have called my father. I am both grateful and resentful toward him for over many things. They all mix together, cancel out, and I end up with a neutral emotion. In that case, Kumasawa could probably be called my mother. She helped me out many times. I've always wanted to repay her someday, and now I've lost that chance for all time. Shannon is my Nason. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to be me. Thanks for teaching me that the ocean is blue. Goda
I hate that guy. Still, when I complimented his stew, he would sometimes turn red and say there was enough for seconds. I didn't dislike that part of him. I wonder why such a strong memory popped up the instant I ran past the dining hall. And then, my memories of Jessica.
Oh, it's a boy servant. How old are you?
I think those were the first words she spoke to me. Come to think about it, she's probably interested in me ever since then. I really did have enough time to build up a love that wouldn't lose to George and Shannon's. But since I could only see the gray sea, I wasted almost all of that time. What does she like about me? What do I like about her? I get the feeling we never really made that clear. No, she told me. We should have stayed together longer to eventually find that out. It would have been fine to find our reasons for our love later. It took me far too long to realize that. Now I think I can accept it. I know why Shannon won the duel. God must have been watching. He had so much more courage than I did, and God didn't abandon you. I reached the hallway with the guest rooms. There was someone lying on the ground. It was Battler. He was lying just outside the guest room, a chain tied to his neck. He probably struggled to do something with the chain lock from the outside until he lost consciousness. His fingernails on both hands must have been torn off, and they were stained with blood. I could tell at a glance just how hard he had tried until the final moment when his heart had died. The collar binding him wouldn't disappear unless the chain lock was set. Battler, it's all right. I'm going to save you now. Battler responded faintly. He probably hadn't even imagined that help had come to his eternal closed room. He was so scared that this might be an auditory hallucination brought about by a fleeting delusion that he couldn't bear to open his eyes easily. Cannon grabbed Battler by the arms and dragged him into the room. The inside of the room was terrible. The windows had been brutally shattered, and the wind and rain had made its way inside. All kinds of tools and furniture lay broken there. However, Battler hadn't smashed them out of rage. The curtain had been removed, torn, and twisted up into a bundle. He probably used the trial and error to see if that could be used as a rope for some trick. He had tried using everything in the room, exploring all possible options of escape. The traces could be seen throughout the room and even the bathroom. The empty bathtub was stained with just a bit of blood, and the nippers lay there on the bottom. To protect this tale, he had nearly been prepared to accept Berncastle's brutal method of escape, cutting himself into pieces and washing himself down the drain. He was even willing to tear apart his own body to protect the game that Beato had entrusted him with. He probably questioned himself over and over in this bathtub, wondering if there was any other way out. By the clock of the game world, not even a single day had passed. However, just how many years had it been this closed room of the logic error? When faced with an endless span of time, any way of ending it, no matter how cruel, is tempting. However, he rejected that until the very end. And, even in the last moment when his heart died, he had wanted so much to show his iron will to escape from this closed room, that he had chosen to fall here in the corridor, the chain still around his neck. Battler, it's Cannon. Please, come to your senses. He wiped Balor's face with a towel wetted in the sink. In response to that cold sensation, Balor's heart slowly started beating again. It's you, Cannon. Yes, it's me, Cannon. You did well to endure until today. It looks like I slept in just a little too much. Balor realized that the feel of the towel on his neck meant that the cursed collar and chain were gone. There's no longer anything binding you here. Come on. Please head back quickly. But if I unset that chain lock, that chain will come back. Don't worry. No longer does any chain exist to bind you, Battler. I will remain here. What did you say? By now, Battler knew the terror of this endless closed room better than anyone else, so he was more filled with shock than happiness. Shock at the determination of the one who was willing to become the new prisoner. I will be fine. There is no need to worry. But... Battler, isn't there still something you have to do? Go back quickly. There's someone fighting in your place. And there's someone awaiting your return. Will you not go back? His stern words and gaze shot straight through Battler. Are you sure? Yes, that will be fine. This way I can repay my debt from back then. Debt? Do you owe me something? You aren't the one I owe, Battler. It's okay, so go. I don't like being indebted to others. Go quickly. You must not keep her waiting now. So, hurry. Battler couldn't argue back anymore. He silently bowed his head, unset the chain, and opened the door. Cat had remained in the room, so no chain appeared about Battler's neck. He could leave this closed room just by running out. The happy-sounding voices that he had heard at the far end of the corridor had been replaced with an excited chatter. There must have been some sort of strange disturbance going on. As Cal went out into the corridor to see me off, the merciless collar and chain had already captured their new prisoner. He would remain inside this endless closed room in Battler's place. Canon, I feel the same. About what? I don't like keeping debts. I'll definitely repay you, and I'll do it soon. I hope I can count on that. Go on, run. Run to the one you love. And please never get lost again. Battler didn't turn back again. He ran with everything he had. He ran out into the corridor, was warped. He had cursed so many times. That cursed chain no longer bound him. He ran to the very end of the corridor, beyond the light. Canon, still connected to the chain, watched him go, then quietly returned to the guest room. Now he only had to worry about his own job, stay in this room, and fix the error in logic. Now, I set the chain lock. As soon as he said it, the chain disappeared from his neck. Then if he hid in one place Erica hadn't checked, the broken logic would be fixed. The closet door opened slowly. It was well oiled and opened without a sound. It was cramped inside and dark. This tiny space is the last place I'll see. As long as I remain hidden in here, the logic will be preserved. That's an easy job. Easier than caring for the roses. Cal went in it and closed the double doors from inside. As soon as he did, a single small gold butterfly appeared, melted into the darkness of the closet, and vanished. It was a sign that the logic had been fixed. The witch's game had already stopped, and the clock of the world of pieces would never tick again. So, for all eternity, no one would come to save him from this place. That's okay. This way, I've paid back my debt. Beatrice. The power of the gold butterfly brooch... The power of the golden butterfly brooch taught me about love. In the third game, it gave me some quiet time alone with Jessica. I get the feeling it did many other small things for me. At any rate, I've paid back all my debts now. Now, all my debts are... That music tape Jessica lent me. I never gave that back, did I? That's okay, isn't it, Jessica? I like that one. Can I accept that as a present? You want me to dove it over and hand it back? Slowly, Canon's body began to melt into a cloud of gold butterflies. And after the inside of the cramped dark closet glittered like a golden planetarium. It faded away like the light of fireflies and was painted over by a pitch blackness for all eternity. Okay, we can stop now.